Hi guys, it's Andy Wood. We are obviously back in Fallout New Vegas, but this isn't a Let's Play. There will be no real gameplay in this, and you may notice that in the upper left-hand corner and in the upper right-hand corner we have some information. And the reason why, the primary reason why for this video is I'm trying to reach out to anyone that watches this videos to offer up some suggestions. What I'm trying to do is get a consistent 60 frames per second in Fallout New Vegas. I have a pretty good gaming machine. In the upper right hand corner I have fraps. You can see it's showing like between 80 to 85 frames per second, which is also the same information in the upper left hand corner, which is coming from MSI Afterburner. And it's all I'm displaying with MSI Afterburner is the load on my graphic cards, the frames per second from the Direct 3D, and then the load on my CPUs. So I am running an i7. It's 2.6 megahertz. I do have dual matching NVIDIA 970s. They're overclocked in SLI mode currently. So that's why you see two graphic processors. I'm in Goodsprings, and as you can see, when I turn around, I have a huge fluctuation in frames per second. So, you know, I haven't seen it dip down to 30. I've seen it dip down to 45, and I do realize that perhaps it just might be Fallout New Vegas. But I have seen some people record and display a nice consistent 60 frames per second in Fallout New Vegas. Now it also might be just Goodsprings. So is what I'm going to do here is and I do have I have about 110 mods, maybe 115 mods. So, you know, even around here I'm getting, well, see, it dips, it goes. So I don't know if that's good or bad. But what I thought I would do is, let's go into the general store here. And I'm pretty sure smaller areas you get a higher frames per second. A larger area where there's more stuff you get a decrease. Howdy. Hey Chet. So here we got 100 frames per second. And Chet, pardon me, I'm doing some testing. This is where you live, Chet? I'm not judging. So again, over 100 frames per second. And I do understand that this is a very small area. There's not a whole lot going on, so I do get that. And then when we go outside, we have, well, like, it gets ish to 60 frames, but, and I do realize that if there's more, that where I'm pointing, if there's not a whole lot going on, the frames per second will go up, and if I go somewhere where there's a lot going on, there's going to be a dip. However, I'm just wondering if I'm doing something wrong. So I am going to talk to it, and I'll also list down below what I'm doing. Within the Fallout New Vegas mods, I am running the 4 gigabyte mod, the executable. I do have the New Vegas script extender installed, and I also do have the stutter remover installed, along with a bunch of other mods. And I do have a list of all my mods that I use in my New Vegas Let's Play. The Fallout.ini and the FalloutPrefs.ini file have been modified so that I guess it's called iPresentinterval, which is normally set to 1, has been set to 0. And I know that doesn't help with the frames per second, but it helps with stability from everything I've read. I've also changed the bUseThreadedAI from 0 to 1. And I've also added the iNumHWThreads equals 2. So I've added and changed those in the Fallout.ini and the FalloutPrefs.ini file. Now, in the stutter remover INI file, the guide that I used is a little old. It's a little over a year old, and the stutter remover at the time had some settings for maximum and minimum frames per second. Currently, those settings have been omitted, but there is still a section to where it talks about allowing the stutter remover to manage your frames per second, and I have disabled that management part of it. There's also a it's called a heap, and I've changed that, and again I will have all this documented down below. Now some people might say, well Andy, good springs is just very bad for frames per second. So let me bring up the old Pip-Boy here. Let me go to Prim. Yes, I'm going to fast travel there. And I do realize a lot of times in loading screens and menus you get an incredible fluctuation in frames per second. So again, I'm not concerned with that. It's the gameplay that... So again, it's mid-50s. So we're getting 50 frames per second and now 60. So if I go over to... Again, if I go inside a structure, we'll go inside the Nash residence. We get an incredible frames per second boost because, again, not a big structure, not a whole lot going on. If we go across the street to Vicky and Vance's, a little bit bigger structure.
I'm glad those damn bots are gone for good.
And again, okay, a little dipping on the frames per second. So again, it's fairly varied. So I'm thinking that I'm doing something wrong, either in the configuration of Fallout New Vegas, one of the mod files, perhaps even my SLI setup, which is either on or off. Now I know there's also the video sync or VSync. I do have VSync enabled. And a lot of people saying, well Andy, disable that. That's your problem right there. But everything I've read for Fallout New Vegas, that if I disable VSync, that yes, I will see an increase in my frames per second, but then I could also run into some NPC animation desynchronization to where they'll just be standing there and then I could walk away and then all of a sudden they're talking and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to avoid anything that's going to break the game but yet improves the game. So is what I'm seeing is that between Good Springs, Prim, and Novak, it goes anywhere from 45 frames per second up to, well, 60 right now. So again, I'm going to put everything that I have changed in relation to INI files and what I'm going to put all that down below in the show notes. So if anyone's watching this and you have some suggestions, I would greatly appreciate it, because the reason why I'm making these changes is I would like to start recording my gameplay in 60 frames per second and uploading it to YouTube in 60 frames per second, just for you know, a little bit better experience, I guess. So thank you a lot for your time. I appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic time.